Hello from the shores of Lake Zug, where I'm staying for a few days. Zug's a relatively small town in Switzerland, about 50 minutes drive south of Zurich. I'm staying right on the lake shore though, at a place called TCS Camping Zug, which I'll tell you more about in a minute. But for now, I'm going to take the walk into the old town and have a look around there. So this multi-use footpath cycleway runs from the campsite back there all the way into Zug. At sort of the halfway point, you can then turn right and wander around the actual harbour on a proper footpath, which takes you directly to the old town, or you can carry straight on and head into the main sort of centre of Zug. So it's pretty cool. One straight line, about 20 minutes or so, 20-25 minutes. That's where we're heading over there. That's Zug Old Town. And this is Lake Zug, looking really great in the sunshine. So the Old Town basically has two parallel roads running along the lake shore behind me, with sort of shops and restaurants and things like that on, and then there'll be these random little passages that head down with glimpses of the lake, which is really cool, particularly in the sort of evening sunshine. But then there's more bars and restaurants and all sorts along there, and a footpath that runs all the way along the lake shore, which is really cool. Just sat at the museum, which is at the top of the hill overlooking the old town, having a really lovely evening here in Zug. The sunshine just makes the whole place even better, but it's totally what I expected of Switzerland. Just everywhere's clean, tidy, just looks amazing. The old town is as expected, cobbled streets, lovely old buildings, lots of cafes and bars and things like that. Really good atmosphere down there. And then the new town, or the main sort of centre where the sort of train station is, there's a big shopping centre, and everything you'd expect of a reasonably sized town. Is also very smart, very clean. One thing to note as well, the sort of public transport here is brilliant. So for getting around, I can leave the van at the campsite. I've been on the bus, I've been on the train. It's really easy to get around the local area or beyond, and really cheap as well. So yeah, really thumbs up for Zug, thoroughly recommend it. Good morning from the campsite on the shores of Lake Zug. It's another cracking morning, not a cloud in the sky, really warm already. It's my last day here though, unfortunately. It's bittersweet when you find a campsite that you really love, and this one is amazing. But my adventure kind of begins now. It's Saturday morning and I've got until Wednesday evening when my shuttle back to the UK is booked. So loads of time in between now and then to explore Switzerland. I don't quite know what I'll be doing Sunday, Monday, Tuesday yet, but today my plan is to tackle one of the famous Swiss passes, mountain passes, and the one near here that looks reasonably okay for camper vans is the St. Gotthard Pass. There's also a camper van stopover at the top, so I'm hoping that I'll be able to find space and stay the night at the top of the mountains tonight. It's going to be pretty busy up there, and I think from what I've been reading, it's better to arrive a bit later when the day visitors go home, because they tend to park anywhere, and that should hopefully free up some spaces. So I'm going to hang around here till 12, that's the checkout time for this campsite, and then head up there, slow drive. It's about an hour and a half, something like that, I think. So we will do that in a bit. This morning I do want to nip back into Zug if I can, because there's this flea market on. You might have seen in the video some sort of tables and little stalls ready to be set up. They're all being set up this morning, and there's 2 of these a year. This is the first one, so apparently it's pretty big, but I'm going to want to go and have a nose and see what that's all about. So I'll do that in a bit and then we'll hit the road. But for now, I will show you around TCS Camping in Zug. TCS Camping Zug is a relatively small campsite directly on the shores of Lake Zug. It's situated next to the main multi-use path that runs around the entire lake for cycling and walking. There's a bus stop a few minutes walk away and the main railway line runs alongside. Whilst this is busy and quite noisy, I didn't find it disruptive. The site is a mix of grass and gravel pitches with optional electric and cost me £30 a night with electric. You get a special key that gives you access to clean and modern facilities, including hot showers, toilets, washing up, clothes washing, waste and water. Despite being relatively intermingled with public areas and the general public can use the site cafe, it felt safe and secure. Note, to access the site you need to drive under a tunnel under the railway that's 3.1 metres high. That was no problem for my H2 Fiat Ducato. Look what I have found just outside the campsite. It's a TS scooter that you can hire via the app, so I'm going to give that a go, which will make my trip into Zug a bit quicker. Oh, that was a little bit of mayhem there. So it's essentially a massive jumble sale. It takes up the entire town. So if you're into all that, it's probably quite a good thing to come and have a look at. There was pretty much everything on sale: clothes, toys, bric-a-brac, knives, lights, pretty much everything. But it was a mix between sort of genuine looking stuff and people who are clearly running businesses, or you know, like an eBay shop but in the street. Anyway, it was nice to have a look around. The old town's buzzing this morning, but I'm now heading back to the van and then we'll hit the road.
I can see it all clear from above, looking back on it all. Maybe I can see what was broken. Ooh, but it's a lonely calling.
I just stopped here for 5 minutes to have a quick look around. It looks like a really cool place. It's called Vanlife. Not far from Zug actually, but somebody told me that this is where all the posh like villas and all the well-to-do people live. So, but the lake front looks really cool here. So just gonna have a quick wander and then back in the van and continue.
Trying to fix what is broken, 'cause my time is running out in the set. Ooh, I'm just a human in motion.
So far so good. The sat nav has sent me parallel to the main autobahn, because that is pretty much chocker all the way to the big Gotthard tunnel, and obviously we're going over the top anyway. So there's the route H2 I think it is that runs parallel, the old road, which is brilliant, really nice to drive through that. So I'm just about to go up to the main route up to the pass, so I just thought I'd pull over and just double check everything. With Waze and stuff, I'm just a bit worried about, you know, there might be like low tunnels and things like that, so I'm just going to double check that. However, there was a coach all the way in front of me up to this point, so I'm more than confident. The other thing to note, a little quirk of Switzerland, is the motorways are signage and stuff is green and the normal roads signage is blue, so that confused me just now. I've come up to a junction where you can go back onto the motorway to go through the main tunnel or off to the pass, and I nearly went on the motorway because I was kind of in my mind thinking, right, green is the minor route, but it's not, it's blue. So a little tip there if you are driving through Switzerland. But we'll crack on, and I think it's going to start getting steep now. park up. I made it to the top of the Gotthard Pass. Not too bad a drive up actually, a few steep bits and a few sort of quite tight switchbacks, but Carlo did really well. That 2.3 engine in that Ducato is amazing. Pretty much second or third gear all the way up, and yeah, nice and easy. But yeah, this park up is amazing. There's probably about 10 campervans and motorhomes here now. Could probably fit in another maybe 3 or 4, but I got a spot which is fantastic, so I'm going to stay put and enjoy the whole evening here tonight. The campervan area is just past the main sort of hotel and sort of tourist area where there's a restaurant and bar and a few little sort of touristy shops, nothing too major by the way, so it's all pretty wild up here. And then you've got the lake in the middle. The new pass which I drove up is a really nice road actually. That's that side of the lake, and then the campervan area is actually on the old pass, which you can see from the new one. And if you can, I think at some point drive that. It's probably for the last half a mile maybe, but very narrow, cobbled, but quite cool I expect if you're in a car or on a bike or whatever. But anyway, yeah, so I'm going to just have some lunch and then having a wander around sort of this immediate area, and then just suss out some walks I can do, get the walking boots out and see if I can go a little bit further. Right, hoodie, jeans and walking boots on. I'm going to take a wander to the main area where the hotel and restaurant and stuff is, and then the other side of it there's one of these Grand Tour of Switzerland sort of photo points that I've seen dotted around actually. They're like red hearts I think with a view, so I'm going to have a wander and see if I can get up to there. So the main area basically has a couple of kiosks, a little shop selling cuddly toys. There is a restaurant here which seems okay, but that's about it. But there are lots of signposts around showing nearby things to go and see, and I think there are lots of different trails and walks you can do. So I'm currently walking down the old pass road towards the Grand Tour of Switzerland sign, if I can find it. So you've got to be a bit careful up here. It kind of ranges from snow to nice sort of rock surfaces to walk on, to grass, and then to quite deep water. So you definitely need to be looking down when you're walking around, but I'm going to continue up over this way, which seems fairly dry for now. Well, after all that, somebody's nicked the sign, so this should be a massive, great big heart thing that you stand up on and take a photo through with the view behind you, but it's not here. Never mind, the view still looks just as good. Right, it's got a bit chilly now. The sun keeps going in behind clouds, and it'll be behind the mountains soon, so I'm going to head back to the van. There is a little chapel thing just down there behind me, if you can see it somewhere. I'll try and get down to that before I go back, and then I can pick up the old road back up to where the campervan is. Oh, so a standard campervan dinner of pasta for me and a nice beer, and gorgeous views of the mountains and the lake. I'm just so excited being here, sleeping the night at the top of a mountain pass. It's just amazing. It's just, the scenery is just out of this world. I don't think the GoPro really picks it up, to be honest, but anyway, looking forward to that. I am interested to see how many campervans kind of stay. At the moment there's quite a lot, and they're not just in this motorhome sort of section, they're kind of dotted all over the place. So I will go for a wander and take you with me when it starts to get a little bit darker, just to see whether there's plenty of people staying up here or whether they're all going to suddenly disappear. But so far, yeah, it just feels like a normal park up to me, so thoroughly recommend it. A note on the weather: I checked in Zug, so it's 7 p.m. In Zug right now it's 21 degrees. Here it's about 10, and I looked, it's going to get down to 3 degrees about 4 a.m, so it's going to be a chilly night. I'm going to wrap up warm. Got the heating on standby, but yeah, just notice that sort of temperature difference really, but it's not too bad, it's fine. And tomorrow sunshine all morning, so it should be nice and warm in the sun once that comes up above the mountains. So I'm going to eat this and we'll catch up in a bit when we go for a little stroll later on. So this part here is the main motorhome parking. I don't think it technically extends further where those ones are down here, but obviously this is pretty full now. But there's more vans further on, and then also on the right hand side there along the lake, which is a nice little spot as well. There's a nice little spot over there as well, actually, a bit more off the beaten track. Doesn't look massively level, but yeah, tucked away there, could be quite sheltered, and cool little Mercedes conversion there at the front. So I think it's safe to say I'm not going to be on my own here tonight, which is cool. All those other vans I think are staying the night, and although wild camping is technically illegal in Switzerland, it's obviously hardly anyone around up here anyway, so it's no bother, fairly chilled. The main sort of motorhome parking area that's labelled on Google Maps doesn't have any signage here, so people have filled up that and then parked a little bit further along. And then those other little areas that are kind of dotted behind or a little bit lower down, they look really cool actually, so I think next time I come I'll probably give one of those a go. But for now the wind is getting up, it's getting bitterly cold, so I'm going to head back to the van, put the heating on, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Good morning from the Gotthard Pass. It's been quite a chilly night, about 4 degrees at the moment. Slept really well though, other than a couple of times when the van next door what seemed to be opening its sliding door all through the night. I think about like 1 AM and 4 AM, so not sure what was going on there, but that was a bit annoying. But other than that, totally silent up here. A few cars have just started driving past now, about 7 AM, but yeah, really good night's sleep. I've avoided the heating all night long as well, but I've put it on now. I did have to sleep in a sweatshirt though, but it was all cool. So I'm going to have some breakfast once the van's warmed up and nice and toasty, and then going to wander down on the old road to that bridge that I saw yesterday and see what else I can explore down there, and then moving on to the next campsite that I've booked, which I'll tell you about in a bit. So this is the original mountain pass road. It's called Tremola. You can see it on the maps. It basically diverges from the main route about half a mile before the pass, and you can kind of see it snaking much more up and down the mountains, tighter switchbacks and tighter, steeper gradients, but it's cobbled throughout, and it's really well maintained as well. I've seen cyclists, runners, walkers, cars, motorbikes, and the odd camper van as well. I'm not sure I'd risk Carlo on it, to be honest, but I think it really gives you a taste of the original route through the mountains. But just walking on it a little bit this morning, you do feel completely separate from the main pass, which is actually quite a main road now, which is good for the van, but it doesn't really give you the full experience. So if you do come here, make sure you check out Tremola.
Today and not tomorrow, there's no time to borrow. Today is a good day to live. This morning has so clear a light as any to see the horizon in the far.
So that was a fairly straightforward walk from the parking area, about 15 minutes, not too steep, to this bridge which is in the middle of the valley. The road runs all the way around and down that way. But yeah, just relaxing, listening to the water, looking at the mountains. One thing to note, I think if I came back, or if you were to come sort of mid-June, and there are certainly loads of like bulbs and flowers and plants waiting to bloom, and I expect this will be really lovely when the weather warms up a little bit more. And I'm not very good with my animal names, but I think they're marmalots. They're poking their heads up all over the place around here. Keep spotting them looking out of their little burrows, or just out in the grass. There was a family of sort of 5 or 6 up on the road when I walked past. Got a few close-up shots, as they didn't seem too fussed by me walking past, but they look very cute anyway. So I'm going to sit here for a bit, and then I'm trying to decide whether I bring the van down the cobbles to take the photo of the trip, but I don't know yet. So I'm going to have a little think about that, and we'll see if we do that. What a great location. So glad I took the plunge and drove just at least a little bit of the old road. The cobbles aren't too bad with the van, actually they're relatively smooth. It is quite steep though, so I wouldn't be comfortable taking the van further down the old pass, to be honest. Not unless I had Neil with me, because 2 pairs of eyes are better than 1. I'm sure it'd be okay, but it's really steep and really tight. So I'm going to hang around here for a bit, take some photos of the van in this epic location, and then get back in, head back up, get back on the new pass and head back, unfortunately, the way I came. That's okay, different view heading down to my next stop.